And our base is Celtic Park, Celtic against Hearts, all the goals as they go in England and Scotland with Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. Your timing is impeccable. We're about to get underway. And let's see how Celtic respond after losing that long 24-match unbeaten home league run here against Rangers, Pat.
Yeah, they would have been slightly shaken by it, if not necessarily stirred. But the fact that they've got a chance to make up for it now, they will do so if they can.
So commentary to come, but we're going to pay another visit to Doncaster. It's the mile stakes in the company of John Hunt.
And closing in on the leaders, Dancing Gemini, coming with what looks to be a very promising run in, with Check and Challenge on the far side. Behind them, Botanical, backing out of it, Liberty Lane and Savvy Victory. The rest all well beaten off. Oh, this is impressive. Dancing Gemini, Roger Teal's stable star, had a really, really good 3-year-old campaign last year. He very nearly won a classic last year, but not quite. My word, that augurs plenty for the season ahead for him. Dancing Gemini has scooted to a 5-length victory in the Doncaster Mile. Very impressive. He was ridden to victory by Kieran Schumacher, and he's thrashed a lot of them. Check and Challenge finished second, and Botanical was third.
And we'll be back with you, John, for the Lincoln at around 3:35. 0-0 here at Celtic Park, Celtic against Hearts, but 5 Live final score today is available on the red button, the BBC iPlayer and the BBC Sport website and app. And if you're watching as well as listening, you'll know there's been an early goal at Ellen Road. Mas Faruqi.
With the first move of the match stabbed in by Brendan Harrison. Leeds ahead, Swansea dreadful, failing to clear their area with several opportunities. Leeds 1, Swansea 0.
Mansfield have just taken lead at Bristol Rovers in League One. I'll give you the two teams as Celtic in their green and white hoops when their white shorts are playing from left to right as we look, against Hearts in their maroon shirts and white shorts. Sinisalo is in goal for Celtic because Kasper Schmeichel picked up a shoulder injury whilst on duty for Denmark against Portugal. Johnston is the right back, Carter Vickers and Nawrocki are the central defenders with Schlupp at left back. In the midfield, Callum McGregor makes a welcome return. They've missed him, the captain, after a calf problem. Hatate and Engels also in the midfield with Jota and Kuhn supporting Daisen Maeda. As for Hearts, Craig Gordon is in goal. It's a back four, Forrester of right back, Steinbender, Nielsen and Penrith, with Harry Mill making his debut alongside Benigami in the midfield. Cammy Devlin is also there. Lawrence Shankland will play in behind James Wilson and also Elton Kabangu. Pat.
Yeah, talking about the Hearts team, it's interesting the way they've started that left back area you're talking about, because Millen will sometimes be left midfield, but sometimes if he goes forward, Penrith will go in his position there. But it gives a little bit of physicality, and they've got a chance to use it now because they've got a free kick they can put into the box. They should probably ask Sinisalo, the new Celtic goalkeeper, some questions from here.
Yes, they're going to test him. It's his league debut. His only other appearance actually was in the Scottish Cup against Wraith, where they won by 5-0. Brendan Rodgers was talking about how they've got faith in the Finnish international as the cross is swung over by Penrice, downward header, cleared then by Carter Vickers and then sliced goalwards by Shankland, but caught by Guilherme Sinisalo. He's 23 years of age, signed in from Aston Villa, no appearances during his time at Villa Park. Indeed, his last league start was the 27th of April for Exeter last season against Oxford United. He made 50 appearances, but he didn't actually feature in the international break. He was an unused substitute for the recent games for Finland, both away from home, a 1-0 win at Malta and a 2-2 draw away to Lithuania. No other goals to tell you about elsewhere. I've got to say it's a filthy day, isn't it, here in Glasgow? The wind and the rain sweeping in
and swirling around quite a bit as well. It's the conditions, if you're a forward, you love, because defenders, the ball's getting blown about a little bit, and also it's very, very skiddy in that surface, so Celtic will try and get the ball to Kuhn and maybe more particularly to Jota as often as possible, because in these conditions he's going to be hard to stop.
Nawrocki made his first league appearance of the season, only his third in total against Rangers before the international break. The ball is spread out to this near side. Kuhn loses the ball actually, and now an opportunity for Hearts to come forward. And on this near side, Kabangu manages to get away from his man. Into the penalty area he goes, threads it through towards the near post, and the goalkeeper Sinisalo was down sharply. But that was a promising attack for Hearts.
It was very good, and Harry Milne particularly there flies back from the left full back area, and obviously that's something that Neil Critchlow has been working on. He's changed that position a little bit because they've been a very settled side up until recently. But Milne's come in there, he's played that position, but he's willing to overlap, and he did so very well there. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get the shot away, but certainly an opening salvo that the Hearts manager will be pleased with.
It was interesting in my initial reaction when I saw the team. I thought they're going to go with 3 at the back, and then I saw them warming up, and they deliberately played with a flat back 4 in the warm-up with their headers. Milne wasn't involved, Harry Milne, but there he is, and they are playing with the 3 central defenders. So James Penrice and Adam Forrester are wing backs left and right side respectively for Hearts, as Neil Critchley, their manager, who actually joined Liverpool when Rodgers was in charge at Anfield some 11 years ago, complains to the 4th official as now the referee, who is Kevin Clancy's just having a word with the 2 captains.
Yeah, you're interesting, you talk about that back 3, back 4 as the classic one. It's different whether you've got the ball or whether you've not. And I remember the first person I was sitting beside you, I believe, watching Robbie Martinez doing that with his Belgian side. I think it may have been against Brazil at the World Cup in Russia. And a lot of managers use that now, and certainly that's what Critchley's doing at the moment.
Ball goes back to Sinisalo. Shankland was pressing him, and Sinisalo had to quickly get the ball out of play for a throw. This has been a decent start for Hearts. 0-0. Aberdeen 0, Motherwell 1. St Mirren lead Kilmarnock by a goal to 0 in Paisley. 2 other scores elsewhere in the Scottish Premiership. Still the rain pours down here in Glasgow on this grey afternoon. Cross comes in from the right hand side, and it's cleared by Nawrocki at the heart of that Celtic defence, and that was a touch by Nielsen towards Milne. Left-footed ball up towards Kabangu, holds the ball up and actually holds off the challenge of Carter Vickers, and then the Belgian forward goes to ground and gets a free kick in favour of Hearts.
Well, I have to say, I can hear a little surprise in your voice, and I will share it just now, because Hearts have been a better side. Look, it's early days yet, and it's, as you say, not the most pleasant conditions to play in, but they've come out of the trap really, really well. Hearts have been on the front foot most of the time, and remember, they've got Kabangu, Wilson and Shankland. That's 3 attacking players away from home against Celtic. That's showing a real willingness to have a go, and so far it's working.
So it's a free kick to Hearts. It's about 8 yards in from the left touch line, in front of the main stand here at Celtic Park. James Penrice is the player who's going to deliver it off his left boot. In it comes now. It's a teasing ball in. Nawrocki manages to head the ball away. Newport County 0, Notts County 1 is the latest score in League 2. That's good news for Notts County and their playoff hopes, and 2 informed teams meeting in League 1, and it is Reading who have taken an early lead against Peterborough United. Reading, who are 8th this morning, unbeaten in 10, leading Peterborough as Wigan 0, Barnsley 1 is another latest scoreline in League 1. 5 Live, also available on the BBC Sounds app. 7.5 minutes in, 0-0 here at Celtic Park.
And Hearts with most of the ball, most of the play in the Celtic final third. Celtic are a very dangerous team on the break, and you have to take that into account as well. But there's a real belief about this Hearts team at the start of the game. Maybe the most noticeable thing is the player that Celtic usually look to is Callum McGregor to control the play. I'm not convinced you've been able to mention his name yet.
No, not at the moment. Here is Beningame in the midfield, formerly of Everton, up towards James Wilson, who made history in midweek, didn't he, becoming the youngest ever player to play for Scotland at 18 years and 17 days, and he overtook the record of John Lambie of 18 years and 63 days, set in 1887.
It's extraordinary. I mean, as a youngster, it means a lot to learn, there's a lot to come, but Scotland are struggling with centre forwards that score goals, and it may well be the fact that there are other countries that we're looking out from may well have progressed him a little bit quicker in Stephen Clarke's eyes. Is that subtle enough?
Yes. Message clear, and it's understood as Kabunga comes forward, and it'll be a corner kick to Hearts as they attack. St Mirren have got a second goal at home to Kilmarnock, and Bromley now leads Salford City by a goal to 0 in League 2. But Hearts in their maroon shirts, playing from right to left, have a corner on the left hand side. Yeah,
and it's been, corners, free kicks have all been at Celtic. Celtic have not. We've spent our whole time looking to our left hand side here where Hearts are attacking, and Celtic just cannot get on the ball. They can't get Maeda on the ball to chase, and they cannot get that man, Callum McGregor, on the ball either to control the pace of the game.
Everybody is back bar Kuhn for Celtic as a result of his presence outside the centre circle. Hearts have got 2 maroon shirts just back. Everyone else is forward. In comes the flat corner kick. Good save by Sinisalo. It was Lewis Nielsen who I think had a stab at it goalwards, and Sinisalo with an excellent reflex save.
That's a fabulous save, that, and it's got polite applause from the Celtic fans. I think it deserved a lot more than that. He had to react quickly. A very, very good chance to the corner, and again it was a lot down to these conditions. One zipped in there, skidding about there, and he just got his knees down to it. Doesn't matter what you use, as long as you save it, and he managed to do so.
Just wonder what the reaction would be inside Celtic Park after that defeat to Rangers if they were to have fallen behind at that stage, as Hearts win the ball with Shankland on the right hand side, tries to slide it in low towards Kabangu. Celtic managed to get the ball away, but at the moment Celtic actually can't get out. As the rain, you can visibly see it swirling around in front of our eyes as Milne's forward ball takes a deflection. Penrice heads it on. Kabangu with a little flick, and here now to steady things is Johnston in the midfield. Hatate, his diagonal ball finds Engels just short of the halfway line. Ball over the top, Maeda can't bring the ball under control, and it'll be picked up by Craig Gordon. I think that's probably the first touch of Craig Gordon, all in blue away towards our right.
Yeah, there's a lot of Celtic fans there were asking for a penalty kick. The ball zipped across. Maeda couldn't control it, and there was a coming together between him and the defender, but there absolutely no chance Maeda was going to get in touch with the ball there, and I think the referee made the right decision there to wave that one on. I think it was Devlin who got back there, but it just shows you that Maeda has got great pace and nearly got in.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin here at Celtic Park. BBC Radio 5 Live, available also on the BBC Sounds app. And an update in the rugby union, Adam Whitty.
Bath score an early try against Harlequins, 5-0. They lead a simple move, Finn Russell key to it, working it out wide to Joe Thockner-Singer, who finished expertly in the right corner. Quinsring Rodrigo Isco Sinbin and in a lot of trouble himself after a head-high tackle. Misconversion, Bath 5, Harlequins 0.
Good start then for the league leaders. Kuhn manages to get away from Milne, nicks it past the sliding Penrice, runs forward with pace, but then Milne recovers and gets a sliding challenge in, and it goes behind for a Celtic corner kick that they look to take quickly as Engels comes across to this near side.
Yeah, first real attack, if any real menace that you've got from Celtic there up the right hand side. But the tackling from the Hearts players has been fabulous so far. The energy levels have been great. Can you keep that up? That's the question.
So a corner kick for Celtic, the wind rippling in that stiff breeze here for Engels to take it, scooped in right-footed, goes deep, not properly cleared by Hearts as they appeal for handball, and the referee gives the penalty. Oh no, he doesn't. But talking of a penalty, there's one at Ellen Road. Mas Faruqi.
And it's just been saved by Ilan Meslier. Josh Tymon's spot kick saved. It was a very soft penalty in truth. Rodon judged to have brought down O'Brien, but Meslier has saved that Swansea penalty, so it still Leeds 1, Swansea 0.
So Leeds are ahead. VAR will naturally be having a look at it because there were strong penalty appeals.
There were strong penalty appeals there from the Celtic players, but he's given a free kick in exactly the same position for Hearts. And I have to say, in first viewing, I couldn't see what was wrong. They're going to have a right good look at it. Craig Gordon's waiting there. I don't think he's enjoying the fact that he has to stand stationary with the ball in that rain. The referee's still waiting to make a decision.
It's Greg Aitken and Chris Ray who are the VAR officials, and he's got his hand, or he has had his hand to his left ear. So clearly in communication is Kevin Clancy. Callum McGregor has now wandered across the Celtic captain. Play is yet to restart. So the VAR check is still checking for that possible penalty, but now the fact that that's come up on the giant screen, the referee said play can restart.
Yeah, just giving the foul against Celtic. The thing is, they're giving you a bit of information there, but not quite enough, because I have no idea who the foul was by. We don't have any monitors here to double check it, but that's why we have VAR. They'll have looked at it, and if they've seen a foul, they've stopped that. But it'll give a little bit of heart to those Celtic fans down that end. The Celtic are attacking because they've seen very little of the play so far. They finally got on the ball.
They're attacking the Lisbon's Lions end of the ground, for those of you who know Celtic Park. Blackpool lead Bolton Wanderers by 1-0 in League One, and at Pittodrie, Aberdeen have equalised at home to Motherwell. Aberdeen 1, Motherwell 1. 14 minutes played here, it remains 0-0. There's no sports report tonight. As soon as we're finished here, we're into yet another football commentary, the 5:15, which is also incidentally live on BBC One. Brighton and Hove Albion against Nottingham Forest, the second FA Cup quarter-final after earlier it finished Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 3. Hearts are attacking. Kabunga with the cross just over the head of Wilson. It'll go out of play for a Celtic throw on the far side. A goal at Turf Moor in the Championship. Julia Bold.
It's Burnley 1, Bristol City 0. It came from a free kick about 25 yards out, and Zian Fleming, the man to put it in the back of the net. Burnley 1, Bristol City 0.
Sheffield United went top last night with a 3-1 win over Coventry City, and the teams behind them, Leeds United in second this morning and Burnley third, both responding and both leading by a 1-0, as it looks like the skies might be brightening up, as McGregor just had to quickly run back into his penalty area to make sure that that ball was not picked up by young James Wilson.
Yeah, it's brightening up a bit. It's only a 4-8 now. It's still not great conditions out there, but Celtic are being very, very sluggish. Alistair Johnson caught the ball a moment ago, and he's lifted it a little bit now because he's just got Celtic going forward.
Yes, the weather app this morning can be a little deceiving when it says 9 degrees, then it says feels like 1 with the wind. Hatate, sliding Engels, cut out by Mill, just inside his area. Right footed, gets it up towards Elton Kabungu, who is fouled, and the referee gives a free kick, much to the annoyance of the Celtic supporters around us.
I think he bought that one, the referee. He just went down there, and Gata Vickers is standing beside him saying, I just stood there. He's given a few, particularly for Kabunga there, which I'm not absolutely convinced about, but certainly by that one. But at the moment, you know, that system you're talking about, the Hearts have played, Celtic never change. They always play the same system. And considering they've lost 2 of the last 4 games domestically, and of course we were at the game where they were unfortunate not to win over in Munich, they will always do the same things, and that gives a little advantage for the opposition, because they can adapt and change as much as they like, because they're always going to get the same system off of Brendan.
And the experience of that night in Munich, I would say it was positively tropical.
Yeah, balmy I would call it today.
Today in comparison.
Yes.
Salford City have equalised at Bromley. Bromley 1, Salford City 1, that's in League 2. And that night it felt more like -10, as Celtic, as Pat quite rightly says, so unfortunate not to force extra time. McGregor looks for the through ball. Maeda is onto it. Maeda steadies himself and scores. He tucks it away. 8 league starts and he scored in every single one of them. He is no stopping him at the moment. 10 goals during 8 league starts now for Deza Maeda. What a tidy finish, and Celtic lead by a 0-0.
Yeah, we'll talk about it tidy finish in a minute. However, Callum McGregor's through ball is an utter joy for any centre forward to go into. First time really Callum's got a chance to get on the ball, but he is a class act. Put the ball around the centre back there, knowing that I was going to say the centre back doesn't have the pace of Maeda. I don't think there's any players, any defenders in Scotland's top flight that have got the pace of Maeda. He was always going to go on to 1-on-1 with Craig Gordon. You never thought for a millisecond he was going to miss it, even against a quality goalkeeper like Craig Gordon.
Well, Motherwell supporters will remember Kevin Van Veen, who netted 11 in a row in 2023, but 7 in 7 league starts. The last Celtic player to match that was Anthony Stokes in 2014. Mark Baduka did 10 in a row some 25 years ago, but that is his 29th goal of what is turning out to be not only a prolific season, his best ever return.
Yeah, I mean, taking nothing away from the run was brilliant, the pass was brilliant, the finish was so calm of a very, very confident striker. However, you've got 3 centre-backs there. He was left 1-on-1 and they were playing too high. Dreadful defending.
So Celtic lead with probably only their second real serious attack of the game, and it was tucked away well, as here is Maeda once again. The Engels tries to keep the move alive for Celtic. Hearts struggling now in these wet conditions. Out it goes towards Kuhn on this near side, the right, left-footed ball delivered at pace. Schlupp joins the attack from left back. Looked like he was going to get the shot away, and he's dispossessed. And now the break could be on here for Hearts with Wilson. They've also got Shankland going through the middle, but Kabunga has made that run out towards the right-hand side, and Carter Vickers stops him. As we will go to Wearside and Chris Coles.
Where Sunderland lead against Millwall. Sunderland 1, Millwall 0. Hume chant the crowd. It's a great volley from the left back, found at the back post. Hume slams it home. Sunderland 1, Millwall 0.
So that's the teams second, third and fourth, all behind Sheffield United, who are leading in the Championship. And Portsmouth have just taken the lead at home to Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn Rovers, who've lost their last 3, falling behind there at Fratton Park. Cross comes in from Shankland on the right-hand side for Hearts, as they now trail by a goal to 0, and we're in the 20th minute.
Yeah, and as I said, Celtic haven't been at their very, very best. They've got a number of different ploys, obviously. The play system never ever changes. But Maeda on this occasion, he's playing as a striker. He likes to play in the break, and he's well capable of doing that. However, Hearts shouldn't be too downhearted yet. They're still playing quite well.
Trying the rugby, Adam Whitty.
Too easy for Bath, who have a second score and lead 12-0. Finn Russell again central. Again they find space on the right, and Ted Hill escaped the tackle to score to the right of the post. Bath 12, 14-man Harlequins 0, 9 minutes gone.
The results in the Championship earlier: Hull City 0, Luton Town 1, Watford 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. It's just tightened things up a lot down at the foot of the Championship, and there's been a goal at Cardiff. Molly Stevens.
Cardiff 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Cardiff's attacking selection has paid off so far this afternoon. Isaac Davis on his 3rd chance on goal, makes no mistake this time, left-footed into the bottom right-hand corner. Cardiff 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Big goal for Cardiff, 1 point clear of the relegation zone, as are Stoke City, and there's been a goal there too. Pat Murphy.
And it's gone to Stoke. A splendid goal converted by Bay Junior. Swapping wings. Chamadou, lovely low cross, instant flick, fine goal. Stoke 1, Gubiar 0.
Here it remains, Celtic 1, Hearts 0. We've been playing for 21 minutes, and you can see why they want him to sign a new deal, can't you, Days Maeda?
I mean, the pace was brilliant. We talk about that, and also the fact that the energy levels are incredible compared to just about any player I have ever known. So he keeps on going constantly, and it seems to be for every game as well. But on top of that, you have to add the comfort of the finish. He was just past that one into net. Oh, free kick on the edge of the box again, Carter Vickers. Or should I say, yet again, Carter Vickers.
Kabunga just tried to roll away from Carter Vickers, and he was checked. He pleads his innocence to the referee, but Hearts have got a free kick, which is fractionally left of centre, just outside the D.
Well, it's about 90 yards out, and if they're not silly, they'll move it 2 or 3 yards back. Actually, the referee's done it for them. He's actually drawn the line about 4 yards outside the 18-yard line, which is a better angle to shoot from. And well, there's a number of players that be interested. Would Shankland be interested in that? We shall see. Forrester looks keen as well.
Yeah, Forrester is also there.
In these conditions, you've got to get it on target. Whatever happens, get it on target. Zip it along the ground, bouncing. It's going to be hard for the keeper. Make sure you follow it in.
It'll either be the right boot of Forrester or James Penrice with his left. It's Penrice into the wall, comes back to Penrice, shoots again, blocked, loops up in the air, downward header, and then volleyed, and then hit left-footed by Steinwender, and it goes off target and out for a goal kick, where Celtic lead by a goal to 0. We talk about how tight it is at the bottom of the Championship. It's equally tight for the teams fighting behind Birmingham in League One. Exeter Wrexham, John Akers.
Big goal for Wrexham. Exeter 0, Wrexham 1. Ollie Rathbone, corner of the penalty area, right-footed curler, comes off an Exeter head, wrong foots the goalkeeper. Exeter 0, Wrexham 1.
They're 3 points clear of Wycombe, who are at home to Lincoln City today. Phil Parkinson's side have won 4 of their previous 5 games. Celtic are attacking. Jota, left-hand side, left corner of the box. Hatate waits, passes the ball out towards Schlupp on that far side. Celtic still with coming forward. Rotherham 0, Crawley 1. And Hibs are leading bottom of the table St Johnstone by a goal to 0 at Easter Road. As the ball is passed out to Kuhn by Johnston. Wants the return played in from the former German under-21 international, but instead he links up with Engels, now scoops it, header from Maeda, off the post, loose ball, tucked in. Jota with the rebound, and Celtic have a second goal. Celtic 2, Hearts 0, Jota was never ever going to miss.
When you look at teams in Scotland or any division, when there's not much between the teams in the midfield and the amount of possession or whatever, you look for the quality up front. Once again, it's Maeda. His run behind the defenders, the timing of it, and it's great if you're a midfielder. You know he's going to make that run every single time. He gets the header on it. It's been the goalkeeper, Craig Gordon, but it hits the post, and of course you're right, Jota's coming in, utter tap in, 2-0. Hearts don't know what's hit them because they're probably thinking, we've played quite well up until now, and they're 2-0 down, and that's what quality up front gives you.
And Jota, who's always been a crowd favourite, he scored 28 goals in 81 appearances during his first spell. He was signed from Rennes when, of course, Kyogo left the club in January. That's his 4th goal in 12 appearances since the Portuguese attacking player returned to Celtic. And it's a tall order already now for Hearts.
Huge. They were checking for offside there, and with Maeda made the run. You always check for offside with Maeda because he always looks offside, but he's so fast he usually beats it.
So Celtic 2, Hearts 0. Little slip and a stumble in the midfield as then the ball is hit long by Hatate. Kuhn gives chase. Jota is also there. Kuhn put a lot of pressure on Nielsen, who remained composed to head it back towards Gordon, decked out in his all ultra blue, the Scottish international, as a free kick goes in favour of Hearts inside their own half.
I'm actually really surprised that if he's given a free kick against Carter Vickers there, when that's his 4th or 5th one that he's done, he's got to have a word. Now Carter Vickers is complaining, he thinks that Kavangu's going down far too easily, but you can't just keep on going through people like that.
Well, persistent offending, you would think, would sooner rather than later result in a yellow card for Cameron Carter-Vickers, the American international. Bristol Rovers have equalised at home to Mansfield Town. Bristol Rovers 1, Mansfield Town 1. We know that second place Wrexham are leading at Exeter in League 1. What about the leaders, Birmingham? They're at home to Shrewsbury. Lee Blakeman.
Birmingham 1, Shrewsbury 0. Great free kick, swung in from the left and sliding in to stab it in 6 yards out was Ben Davis to make it Birmingham 1, Shrewsbury 0.
They've won their last 8 at home, have Birmingham City, and they are 9 points clear of Wrexham. But how will Wycombe respond, particularly to that Wrexham scoreline? They're at home to Lincoln. Mike Minay.
Any form of a response would be nice. Not a lot of quality to this game at all. Fought a lot in the middle of the field, making it a nice afternoon to be a goalkeeper in the sunshine. Any shots we've had have been wild and over. 27 minutes played. Wycombe 0, Lincoln 0.
MK Dons are leading Fleetwood Town by 1-0 in League 2. Cambridge United 0, Northampton Town 1 is a scoreline in League 1, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in. Referee has given another decision in favour of Hearts.
He has, and to be fair, I think that's very, very harsh in Celtic there. I think it's Nicholas Kuhn who's gone over there. He's won the ball, and the Hearts players just run into him. As far as I can see, Kuhn's in control of it. Yeah, there's been a coming together there, but I can't see that Kuhn's done anything wrong there.
Well, there was a number of Celtic supporters who were certainly of your same opinion, Pat, because they actually put their hands on their heads in disbelief at that decision from referee Kevin Clancy. As the rain continues to sweep in, we still have some menacing skies. However, somewhere there is sunshine, as it really has brightened up now.
It really has. Either that, they put the floodlights on. Actually, I think it might be the floodlights.
Oh, that's the sun.
We shall see. It's slate grey, all we can see, isn't it? All we can see is slate grey.
Bromley 1, Salford City 2. As here is Penrice backed towards Harry Milne. His ball along the ground, cut out by Callum McGregor. His awareness, his confidence on the ball, and his leadership skills. You can tell him to pass it, pass it out wide.
Decision making's brilliant. He just so rarely makes a wrong decision, and it really helps that for the rest of the team.
Johnston steps forward. Maeda out towards Kuhn. Johnston wants it slipped in. He gets it, and then the ball comes in quickly, and he's diverted behind by an outstretched leg from Lewis Nielsen for a corner kick to Celtic, who lead 2-0 here on 5 Live.
You could almost argue that Celtic are just getting into gear now. But they're 2-0 up and they're just getting into gear now, which must be a great concern for Hearts, who had a decent start to the game themselves, but you can just see it now. A little bit of tiredness, a little bit of uncertainty with the Hearts players, and Celtic are really building into it.
Engels waits to take the corner kick. Near side the right footed out swinger, headed away as far as Hatate on the half volley, hits it right footed off target, goal kick.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure actually all over the years to watch Callum McGregor for Celtic. Ever since he took over from Scott Brown in that central position, he's just grown and grown and grown. He did the same for Scotland as well, and there's not that many players that can go and absolutely control games. And by the way, it's not just in Scotland, he's done it for the national team at international level as well, regularly.
Here is Johnston, the Canadian international, who took his tally to caps to 53 during the recent break. Ball from Carter Vickers, Nawrocki back to Sinisalo. Certainly you think back to that save when it was 0-0 from Nielsen after 10 minutes, you know, could have been a different story altogether.
It would have made it much easier for Hearts, but I've watched Celtic time and again, you know, they're a team they go behind, particularly here at Celtic Park. They don't panic. They know they're going to get parts of the game. They know they're going to get opportunities. And generally, as we know, over the years, they've made that count. But yeah, it would have asked a different question. As it is, Sinisalo has had very little to do, but what he's done very well.
And Celtic, who've now failed to score only once in their last 22 games, and that was at Rangers at the turn of the year. As Hearts go back to Gordon, hits it left-footed and long, and Carter Vickers will let that ball settle and then heads it back to Sinisalo in the Celtic goal. But 2020 was the last time that Celtic actually lost back-to-back home games. Sparta Prague in the Europa League, Ross County in the League Cup. And although we were trying to put it into perspective about their recent 2 defeats in the last 4 league games, which is as many as the previous 46, for them to suffer back-to-back defeats at home is a different story altogether.
Yeah, huge. And we also talked before about Hearts. They've not got a great record here anyway, but you know, they came on a decent-ish run, and I don't think they've played particularly badly so far, but they find themselves 2-0, and as you say, the proverbial mountain to climb.
Celtic still 2-0 up, play the ball back to their own goalkeeper Sinisalo, scoops it away out towards that far side. It will go back and out for a Hearts throw, as we will check in on the League Two leaders. Walsall, Sani Rudravajula.
Walsall 0, Wimbledon 0. cagey, nervy so far after 31 minutes. Walsall looking dangerous on set pieces, as they always are. Wimbledon more fluid going forward, but at the moment it's goalless. Walsall 0, Wimbledon 0.
They could have been displaced at the top. They were, however, joined by Bradford City on 70 points after Graham Alexander's side drew 0-0 away at Accrington earlier. Crewe 0, Port Vale 1, so Port Vale climbed to third with that 1-0 victory at Gresty Road at the top of League Two. There's been a try in the Rugby Union, Adam Whitting.
Bath having it all their own way, a third try, 19-0 they lead after 21 minutes. Quinn's all over the place, down to 14 again. Marcus Smith sin bin for playing the 9. Bath score from short range through Ross Maloney. Bath 19, Harlequins 0.
So we've just heard from Sani at Walsall. What about Doncaster Rovers against Carlisle? Tom Gale.
Goalless, Ian, both keepers with big saves already. Visiting Breeze palming away Bailey's diving header. The host Sharman Lowe getting down low to deny Harris. Doncaster 0, Carlisle 0.
Carlisle, who are in the relegation spots, they're 9 points adrift of safety. Doncaster, though, without a win in their last 3, looking to consolidate a place in the playoffs as Hearts try and get on the end of that from across from Kabungo on the left-hand side. And it was Shankland actually diving in at the far post, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he started the move on the right-hand side, Shankland, with a lovely little back flick pass, and it warmed Celtic up a little bit there. Do look a wee bit shaky at the back, Celtic, it has to be said, when the balls are zipped in this very, very greasy surface, but the ball just hasn't fallen nicely or cleanly to any of the Hearts strikers yet.
Hibs 2, St Johnstone 0 is a latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Shankland, who's not as prolific as last season. I mean, he has a bit of a contract dispute going on with the club, but he's playing in a much deeper role these days, and he has been contributing with assists rather than goals. He's only scored 4 goals, but he's got 11 assists. But this is last year's PFA Player of the Year, who's been absolutely vital, hasn't he, Lawrence Shankland?
I mean, he had a season from heaven, you know. His just goals are going in from everywhere. He's playing with absolute confidence, getting, you know, starts for the national team as well. And it's just faded a bit, and and you're right, he's playing a little bit deeper now. He's still the captain, he's still an important player, and a big thing, I mean, he's got those 2 other young strikers who do a lot of the running up front for him, but just that magic golden touch has kind of deserted him for the moment.
Here is Hatate. His ball though goes straight through to Penrice, leaves it then for Milne, who clears it up towards Kabungu, but it's headed back by Carter Vickers, and then taking over in the midfield is Callum McGregor, who whips the ball into the path of Schlupp and sets Celtic on the front foot once again. And this is Schlupp coming forward from left back, and he continues to go into the penalty area, and Schlupp gets a left-footed shot that is saved by the legs of Craig Gordon. He just kept on running and kept on running. Back to Adam Whitty watching the rugby.
Will Muir has scored Bath's fourth straight from the restart, a bonus point within 23 minutes, a clean break down the left, Muir runs it in, Quinn's getting a hammering from the league leaders, Bath 26, Quinns 0.
Here is Celtic now with Johnston, helped on its way out towards Kuhn by Engels. Johnston again makes that run ahead of him into the penalty area. Here he is with a cut back, takes a deflection, it's going to come out towards Schlupp, who slices it. Goal kick, 2-0 Celtic.
He's not afraid of a shot, is he? Jeffrey Schlupp. I think he's loving his football up here in Scotland since he moved up, getting better each week. Good understanding between him and Jota, but more impressive actually has been the right hand side, Alistair Johnston. Now, if you watch any Scottish football at all, you'll understand that Celtic love an underlap, particularly on the right hand side. He's already got to that byline 3 times, and Hearts have no answer for it.
Well, Schlupp, who only had 16 substitute appearances for Crystal Palace this season, scored his first goal in 11 months against St Mirren earlier this month, and he easily could have had a second. As Hatate chips the ball forward, and it will be cleared away by Nielsen, the central defender for Hearts, on the edge of his penalty area. Bolton Wanderers have equalised at Blackpool in League 1. Blackpool 1, Bolton Wanderers 1, and there's a goal now in League 2 at Doncaster. Tom Gale.
Doncaster 1, Carlisle 0. Owen Bailey at the back post, low strike, initially saved by Breeze, but it squirms under his body and trickles over the line. Doncaster 1, Carlisle 0.
Looking bleak for Carlisle United, as this is McGregor in the centre circle of the Hearts half. We've been playing with 35 minutes on the clock, so 10 to go to half time. Carter Vickers, his forward ball along the ground. Maeda not cut out by a sliding Cammy Devlin in the midfield, the Australian international, back in the side after being concussed during that cup win against St Mirren. Ball hit long, Wilson will give chase, and that will go through towards Sinisalo, the Celtic keeper.
Do you know what? He looks very comfortable, the goalkeeper Sinisalo. Look, he's a Finnish international, you expect it, but he's not played that many games. He's young, I think he was around 23. But comfort, the first time he came for the ball, grabbed it, took it really high in the air, just looks as if he'd been doing this comfortably at the top level all his life. But also, ball at his feet, he looks good, and I think Brendan Rodgers will take that on board. Schmeichel's not going to last forever. They need someone else to come in and take his place eventually. He looks quite good at the start.
Ball over the top towards Jota, who got the second goal. Schmeichel did sign that new extension, didn't he, till 2026, but Schmeichel, what is he? He's 38, so like you say, he's not going to go on forever. Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1 is a latest score for Todri in the Scottish Premiership. Ball chipped up towards Kuhn, taken into feet nicely on the right hand side, level the penalty area on this right side as Celtic play from left to right. Here is Kuhn once again trying to get away from Milne, and then Hearts will dispossess the Celtic player, but McGregor quickly runs back to tidy up and get Celtic back in possession. So Aberdeen 2, Motherwell 1, and there's another try in the rugby. Adam.
Yeah, it's crazy here. 5 tries in the first 25 minutes. This one to Quinns. They've got their first try. Luke Northmore running in end of the post, but they're a long way off the league leaders Bath at the moment. Bath 26, Harlequins 7, 26 minutes gone.
Ball picked up by Wilson for Hearts, running forward, edge of the area, plays it in. It goes behind Shanklin though. Penrice will get their left corner of the area on the run, delivers the cross, and the header back across goal from young James Wilson. Maybe he should have hit the target.
Maybe. Well, you're being kind. You're being very kind.
I'm always kind, Pat.
It's back post. There's no one near him. Yeah, it's a bit of a dolly of a pass. It's not zipped into him, but it's right on his head. And the simplest time, you've got to get that at the very least on target. That's a big chance.
We're going racing on BBC Radio 5 Live. It's the Lincoln at Doncaster in the company of John Hunt.
And they're through halfway in, and the favourite Thunder Run is trying to make all of the running here. Shows out narrowly in front from Orne, one of the outsiders, in second place, and Too Tempting is in third. Close up in behind the Native Warrior on the stand side. Last year's winner, Mr. Professor, is next. He's followed by Midnight Gun. All of these are very close up. Last year's runner-up, Latam, is next. Old Old Cock is in the middle of the field, now being pushed along as well as Magnus Opus tries to improve together with Apiarist, and over on the far side of the group, Orandi is looking for racing room, but up front, Native Warrior into the last furlong now has headed them. Magnus Opus coming with a run, but Orandi's finishing well, so too Midnight Gun, and from the back of the field, also flying home is Oliver Show. Orandi, Oliver Show, Godwin's Son is the latest to arrive on the scene. He's really flying home. Oliver Show and Godwin's Son, a very tight finish between them. Oliver Show and Godwin's Son, they've gone past very close together. In third place appeared to be Orandi, who was just beaten a neck or so. We're getting a freeze finish on the line. That is so tight. If you had to twist my arm, Ian, I'd say maybe Godwin's Son might have won it from Oliver Show, but there's millimetres in it. Orandi third, Magnus Opus back in fourth place, and Old Cock was well beaten, Old Son.
Thank you, John. We were wondering how it was going on, my tip for the race, and I'm glad that you brought that up rather than Pat, because Pat just had a glint in his eye. And it remains still Celtic leading Hearts by 2-0. There was a missed kick there from Harry Milne, and Craig Gorton did well actually to come across to this near left-hand side to keep the ball in play and clear it away downfield.
Yeah, you don't actually miss a lot back here, because Hearts, after that great chance, I think they might be a wee bit deflated, don't you? After that, back post, header, got to get on. You come to Celtic Park, you're not going to get that many chances against Celtic, and you need to do better than that, my old mate.
Morecambe 1, Swindon Town 0, Middlesbrough 0, Oxford United 1, and Harrogate Town are leading Gillingham by 1-0. Now, Gareth Ainsworth just took charge of Gillingham. He left Shrewsbury during the week. They're without a win in 9 away games, and they've fallen behind there at Harrogate. Harrogate Town 1, Gillingham 0. We've got 5 minutes to go to half-time. Celtic still lead Hearts by 2-0. On the slide, Hatate towards Kuhn, accelerates in towards the penalty area, crosses towards the far post, and there is Maeda running in, and the 3 points are surely secure now, some 5 minutes before half-time. Maeda takes his tally to 30 for the season, and Celtic take another step towards the title.
And just how long before he tapped that ball in did you know he was going to score? Because you knew that Maeda would get into the right position, going down that right hand side. He could have had a shot at goal then, when he was going there, but he knows that that's a 70% chance of goal. If you put it into Maeda, it's a 99% chance of a goal. Got there, tap in there, and as you can hear in the background, they quite like that Maeda song, don't they? It works perfectly.
Well, it has been an excellent week for Daizen Maeda. He helped his team qualify for the World Cup during the week, during the international break, the first team to actually qualify for the 2026 World Cup. He actually came off for the last 17 minutes in the goalless draw against Saudi Arabia, and now in this excellent season that he's enjoying, 30 goals in 45 appearances, and he's on a hat-trick, and he's already bagged a couple of those this season too. And you wouldn't surprise, or it wouldn't be a surprise, if he was to get another one today, because the points are secure, surely, for Celtic. Just before half-time, now leading Heart of Midlothian by 3-0. Goal at Carrow Road, Paul Scott.
It's goalless here. Norwich 0, West Brom 0. West Brom, the visitors, just about edging it in terms of chances. Colin Grant forcing a couple of saves from Angus Gunn in the Norwich goal. At the other end, Josh Sargent saw his effort well saved by Joe Wildsmith, the goalkeeper, smothering with his foot. The rebound was sent wide by Ante Cernach. Norwich 0, West Brom 0.
Thank you, Paul. 2 minutes to go to the break, and Celtic 3, Hearts 0.
Yeah, just that quality in the final third. It's been brilliant. Really, really good to see. And I mean, Celtic, with, obviously they want to get the taste of that defeat against Rangers out of their system, and the way they've played is, I don't think they've been absolutely sparkling all the time during this game, but they certainly are when they get in the final third. And I'm absolutely with you. There's a lot of good bets on the table, but the one you wouldn't bet against is a hat-trick for Maeda.
McGregor loses the ball in the midfield, and the referee has left Neil Critchley hopping mad. It looked like he was going to give a free kick didn't know. He was Critchley thought the decision was going to go the other way, and anyway, it's been quickly taken for Celtic. Goal at Stoke, Pat Murphy.
Another one for Stoke from Junior Chamadou. Splendid reply. Manhoff, instant shot, brilliantly parried by Nardi, the keeper. Straight out though to the fullback. Instant left foot shot. He made the first, he scored the second. Stoke 2, QPR 0.
Neil Lennon, manager of Dunfermline, and his side had fallen behind at Ayr United 1, Dunfermline 0, as we will get confirmation of that racing result, the Lincoln at Doncaster with John.
In quite a gamble landed here as well. Godwin's son confirmed the winner here, trained by William Haggis, ridden by Kieran Fallon, got up to win it in the last stride at 15-2. Earlier this morning he was a 12-1 chance. The runner-up, Oliver Show, at 22-1. O'Randy was third at 13-2, and Magnus Opus was fourth at 16-1. And some history here as well, Ian. William Haggis, the winning trainer, becomes the first trainer in history to win the Lincoln 5 times.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you for your the work this afternoon. And Aintree, of course, on the horizon, isn't it, next in the world of horse racing. And of course the Grand National next Saturday. You'll hear that on BBC Radio 5 Live. But we are in the last 60 seconds, and that sun didn't materialise much, did it? It's clouded over once again, and the rain has never ever left us.
I don't think that was sun. Honestly, you're in Glasgow, mate. But there's a phrase, it's set in. That's a phrase we use up here, and it certainly looks set in for the day. But it's not dampening the spirits of the Celtic fans. They're absolutely delighted that their team's playing well. I talk about Maeda and the possibility of a hat-trick. The thing that's most likely stopping him being a hat-trick is Brendan Rodgers getting him off the pitch to make sure he's wrapped up in cotton wool for the rest of the season.
Well, after this, by my calculations, assuming that Rangers don't drop any more points, they'll require 8 more points for the title. Will Celtic, a 4th successive top flight title, and still they're looking at the potential of a domestic treble as Schlupp runs forward on that left hand side. His cross on the run, cleared only as far as McGregor tries to win it back. It falls to Hatate. He was falling down, and he still managed to get a right-footed shot away, but he sliced it off target, and it's gone out for a goal kick. Celtic 3, Hearts 0.
Yeah, Schlupp did well to get down the left-hand side. The cross wasn't good at all. However, there's so many Celtic players piling in, and one of them, of course, is always going to be McGregor. And you've watched him today. You know, he's covering for his full-backs when they go too far. He's been brilliant. His reading of the danger. But he's right up there for shots inside the area as well. He really is the all-round complete midfielder.
Gordon is waiting to take this goal kick away towards our right-hand side. We're into 2 minutes of added on time here at Celtic Park, where the league leaders are leading Hearts by 3-0. Hearts, who've only had 1 win in 27 visits, and of those 27 previous visits, they've actually lost 25 of them. So it's that sinking feeling for Hearts.
Well, the thing on top of that as well, if you're a Hearts supporter or you're a Hearts player, the manager, you don't want it to turn into a rout. You've been in a fantastic run recently. You don't want the players' confidence to be blighted. And considering he's went for it at the start of this game, remember all the way back to that first 15-20 minutes, they were the better side. They were holding the ball up. They've got 3 attackers out there. They're being brave. They're also being beaten 3-0. And you don't want it to be 5, 6, 7.
Well, coming into this game, Hearts had won 7 of their 10 league matches in 2025. Only Celtic and Rangers had actually won more in the calendar year. As Celtic with Hatate, the referee blows the half-time whistle. So Celtic are in control. 2 goals from Maeda, and then a simple tap-in from Jota after Maeda's header had hit the post. Celtic 3, Hearts 0. Pat Nevin.
And after the odd little trip recently, Celtic are now striding on, and they look very, very comfortable. Big difference in Callum McGregor coming back. Hearts did well for the first 15-20 minutes, but Callum McGregor just knew that their space would open up. Eventually did, and when that space opened up, he knew who just defined his pass through to Maeda to break it was phenomenal, absolutely brilliant. And Maeda had one, you could just see the crestfallen looks in those Hearts players, and they've strode on. Celtic, they look good, but up front they look brilliant.
Half-time then at the break. Celtic 3, Hearts 0.
Thank you very much. Second half on the way here on 5 Live. Last week in the Gallagher Premiership. Harlequins gave Sarries a lead and came back to win. This week, they've given Bath an even bigger lead. But the comeback has started, Adam.
Yes, perhaps. The second try, Titi Lamasutele going over. The mammoth tight head breaking down Bath's defence to make it 26-14. They're still a way off Bath, but you never know. Bath have sort of taken their eye off the ball. Quins racing back into this, playing their lovely open rugby that they're so known for. But it is Bath 26, Quins 14, 36 minutes gone.
Back to the football then. Earlier, Fulham 0, Crystal Palace 3 in the day's first FA Cup quarter-final. The second one, Brighton against Nottingham Forest, here on 5 Live at 5:15. You can also watch that on BBC One. 2 early games in the Championship. Hull 0, Luton 1 and Watford 0, Plymouth 0 is how they finished. As things stand, at 3 o'clock, Leeds going back to the top of the table, Maz Faruqi.
Yes, because they lead Swansea 1-0. The goal coming in the opening seconds of the match, poked in by Brendan Aronson after some good work down the right from Dan James in the opening move of the match. But Swansea was so poor in defence in failing to clear their area. They have had the better opportunities since that goal mine. Josh Tyman with a penalty saved by Elan Mellier. It was soft, but Joe Rodon did push Lewis O'Brien in the Leeds area to give that spot kick away. And Hannes Delcroix has hit the left post as well. So Leeds returning top of the Championship as it stands, but living very dangerously at the moment. They lead 1-0 at the break.
Burnley also lead 1-0 at the break. Julia Bolt.
It came from a superb free kick by Zian Fleming, about 25 yards out, just off centre. It flew into the top left corner of Max O'Leary's net on 16 minutes, and Burnley should be well out of sight. Fleming, Jayden Anthony and Connor Roberts all seeing their efforts since that goal go just wide. Lots of notes being made by Scott Parker at the break. It's Burnley 1, Bristol City 0.
Sunderland also a goal up. Chris.
They are. Sunderland 1, Millwall 0. Trey Hume's crisp volley, one for the set-piece coaches. This clever short corner, all the activity at the front post. Nobody tracking Hume at the back, and that's where it ended up. A flash of the right foot later into the net. Sunderland could have been ahead inside the first minute. Isidore, Bellingham and Rigg all close. Too well saved. Millwall have struggled. Luke Cundall's weak effort through a crowd, their only glimpse of goal. Sunderland 1, Millwall 0.
The run of 1-0 stops now. Paul Scott.
Apologies for that one. Norwich 0, West Brom 0 is the score at half-time. Norwich stopper Angus Gunn, the busier of the two keepers, saving twice from Carlan Grant and producing a decent stop as well to deny a Hegum header. At the other end, Joe Wildsmith saved at the feet of Josh Sargent. The Championship's leading scorer, Borja Sainz, sent an effort wide from the edge of the box. Norwich 0, West Brom 0 at half-time.
Back to the 1-0s, Molly Stevens.
Yes, there's a theme here, isn't there? Cardiff lead 1-0 through Isaac Davis, a goal he deserved, having already had numerous decent shots for the home side. But perhaps that is their problem, not converting enough of their chances, because Sheffield Wednesday just haven't had a look in so far. Dominated in every area of the pitch. Cardiff 4 points above the drop zone at half-time. Cardiff 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Compared to elsewhere, Pat Murphy's bringing the goals.
A goal fest, and why can't Stoke play like this every week? They're leading 2-0, and QPR have barely shown as an attacking force. They've never mastered Manhoef down the right wing. Chamadou, the athletic fullback, laid on the first for Junio's sweet finish. Then after Manhoef's instant shot was palmed away by the keeper, Chamadou scored from 15 yards. At last, Stoke seem to be showing their plumage just when they need to. Stoke 2, QPR 0.
Back to just being a goal in it in the other two games where we don't have reporters this afternoon. Middlesbrough 0, Oxford 1 at the break. They've only won 1 in 10 of Gary Rowett's side, but they lead at the Riverside through Michael Hellick. And Josh Murphy's 7th of the season is the difference at Fratton Park as Portsmouth lead Blackburn by 1-0. 2 early games in League One. Charlton 4, Huddersfield 0 and Stockport 2, Burton 1. Leaders Birmingham well clear of everybody else, and they lead at the break. Lee Blakeman.
Back to the 1-0s. Birmingham 1, Shrewsbury 0. Very one-sided, but in truth, Birmingham should be 4 or 5 clear. The chance they took came from a brilliant free kick from Kieran Dowell, whipped in from the left, poked in 6 yards out by Ben Davis. Stansfield, Anderson and Leonard have all gone close for Birmingham as well. They're on their way to a 9th straight league home win. Birmingham 1, Shrewsbury 0.
John Akers isn't going to be left out of the 1-0s.
I've got a 0-1. Does that count?
Yeah, we'll give you that.
Okay,
trust you.
Exeter 0, Wrexham 1. Big scoreline this for Wrexham. Obviously, they're in second place in League One, and as it stands, a 5-point gap between themselves and Wickham, even though Wickham have got a game in hand. 9 points adrift though of Birmingham. Not the best football match, but Wrexham with a bit of a scrappy goal. Ollie Rathbone on the corner of the penalty area, a curler, right-footed, deflected off an Exeter City player. It was on target, so it won't go down as an own goal, we don't think, and wrong-footed the goalkeeper into the back of the net. Exeter had one big chance, but he's been very, very good in goal as a Conquo. He's made a couple of good saves. Exeter 0, Wrexham 1.
Mine is at Adams Park, where it's goalless.
Yeah, I'd kill for 1-0. I'd kill for a shot on target, to be fair. Wickham, the better side growing into the game, but the shots have been wild and reckless, really. Lincoln have offered very little as well, the game being played in the midfield. Someone should probably actually tell Wickham that Wrexham are leading at the minute. Wickham 0, Lincoln 0.
It does feel like very much a slow burner of an afternoon at the moment as we go elsewhere in League One. Blackpool 1, Bolton 1. Ashley Fletcher's 11th of the season, giving the home side the lead. Bolton's top scorer getting the equaliser, Aaron Collins, that's 17 for him. It's Bristol Rovers 1, Mansfield 1, Cambridge 0, Northampton 1. Sam Hoskins 5th of the season for Kevin Nolan's side there. Reading lead Peterborough by 1-0. Rotherham 0, Crawley 1, Wigan 0, Barnsley 1. Davis Keller done with that goal, 15 for the season for him. In League 2 earlier, Accrington 0, Bradford 0, Crewe 0, Port Vale 1. We're with the leaders Walsall at 3 o'clock at home to AFC Wimbledon, who started the afternoon in 4th. Sonia Rajavajala.
Yeah, a few chances here. Walsall 0, Wimbledon 0. The best one saw Walsall keeper Sam Hornby smothering from Marcus Brown went through. The home fans are nervy here, frustrated as well. So they're winless in 6, remember. But as it stands, they are still the league leaders and 1 point clear at the moment. Half-time, Walsall 0, Wimbledon 0.
And our final reporter might as well join the 1-0ers. Tom?
Doncaster 1, Carlisle 0. Carlisle keeper Gabriel Breeze will be disappointed not to keep out Owen Bailey's goal. He initially stopped it but somehow came loose and trickled over the line. At the other end, Kadeem Harris twice denied by Ted Sharman-Lowe, the Chelsea loanee goalkeeper in fine form, having made his England under-21s debut midweek. Half-time, Doncaster 1, Carlisle 0.
Elsewhere in League 2, goalless between Barrow and Chesterfield. Salford have come from a goal down to lead Bromley 2-1 at the break. Cole Stockton with his 12th of the season and Kelly M.I. with the goals there for Carl Robinson's side. Harrogate lead Gillingham by a goal to that came from the penalty spot. Josh March's 7th of the season. MK Dons 1, Fleetwood 1. Bottom of the table, Morecambe leads Swindon by a goal to 0 at the break. Notts County, who've won just one of their last 6 in the league, lead at Newport by a goal to 0. In the National League this afternoon, earlier Forest Green Rovers beat Solihull Moors by a goal to 0. Leaders Barnet are 2-0 up on Gateshead. Boston 1, Sutton 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Maidenhead 0. Ebbsfleet relegated last weekend 1, Altrincham 1. FC Halifax 0, Hartlepool 1, Rochdale 2, Aldershot 0. Tamworth 0, Eastleigh 0, and Eastleigh are down to 10. Woking lead Braintree by a goal to 0. Yeovil 0, AFC Fylde 0, and York 1, Wealdstone 0. Earlier in the Women's Championship, Blackburn beat Southampton by a goal to 0. Into the Scottish Premiership, our base is obviously Celtic Park, where Celtic lead Hearts 3-0. Aberdeen are 2-1 up on Motherwell. Hibs 2, St Johnstone 0, and St Mirren 2, Kilmarnock 0. Dundee Rangers is a 5:30 kickoff. In the Championship, Ayr 1, Dunfermline 0, Hamilton 0, Wraith 1, Morton 0, Partick 0. In League 1, Alloa lead relegated Dumbarton by a goal to 0, Annan 0, Kelty Hearts 1. In the battle between the top 2, the leaders lead Arbroath 1, Cove Rangers 0, Queen of the South 1, Inverness 1, and Stenhousemuir 0, Montrose 3. In League 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Elgin 0. East Fife's miserable form, which has seen them drop from the top of the table to second, continues. They are 2-0 down at home to Spartans. Leaders Peterhead are down to 10, and they are goalless at Forfar. Stirling 1, Edinburgh 0, and Stranraer 0. Clyde 0. In the Women's Six Nations earlier, France beat Scotland 38-15. Wales-England is a 4:45 kickoff. It's on Sports Extra or on BBC Two if you want to watch it. In the Gallagher Premiership at half-time, it's Exeter 12, Newcastle 15. And at the Rec, Adam Whitty, not really a 1-0 for you.
Yeah, I was going to say slow burner possibly in the football, but it's been a raging furnace in the rugby here, and I think our talk of a comeback for Harlequins might have been premature, Chappers, too. Half-time, Bath 33, Harlequins 14. Bath raced into a 26-0 lead, a bonus point after 21 minutes, and 2 yellow cards for Quins in the process, but they've scraped their way back into it. Quins through tries from Northmore and Lamo Sateli, but just before the break, Will Muir dived over in the left corner for his second try. The league leaders grabbing back control and a 19-point lead. Thrilling stuff. Bath 33, Quins 14 at half-time.
In the United Rugby Championship earlier, Bulls 63, Zebra 24. With 20 minutes to go in the second half, Connacht 12, Munster 30. And at half-time, it's Scarlets 17, Ospreys 17. One game in the IPL today, Gujarat Titans against Mumbai Indians. Gujarat are batting, or have just finished their innings, 196 for 8 off their 20 overs. Josh Butler plays for them, 39 off 24 balls for him this afternoon. You're up to date with all the sport. Exactly 4 o'clock. Here's Jill Mackenzie.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
More than 1,600 people are now known to have died after the powerful earthquake in Myanmar. International rescue teams are starting to arrive, but the country's military rulers are still bombing rebel groups in areas affected by the earthquake. Hundreds of thousands of Turkish pro-democracy protesters have gathered in Istanbul in support of the city's jailed mayor, Ekrem İmamoğlu. He's the main opposition to President Erdogan. Almost 2,000 demonstrators have been arrested over the past 10 days. 3 people have died in a house fire in Northamptonshire. Emergency services were called last night to a converted former railway station in the village of Rushden near Kettering. And a British man's been praised for his heroic actions after he tackled a suspected knife man in Amsterdam. 5 people were stabbed on Thursday, but the British man, who wants to stay anonymous, restrained the suspect until police arrived.
The local elections could rock politics. On May the 1st, voters in parts of England will elect hundreds of seats on 22 councils plus 6 mayors, deciding who runs your local services.
Matt Chorley. On Thursday, I'm heading to Grantham in Lincolnshire, surrounded by some of the key political battlegrounds.
We'll look north to mayoralty battles in Hull and Doncaster, south to Cambridgeshire, west to Nottinghamshire, and east to Norfolk, where planned elections have been postponed. Join us Thursday from 2. Ask your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio 5 Live. This is 5 Live Sports
with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Second weekend of the Women's Six Nations. France 38, Scotland 15. Earlier, England aiming for a 7th successive title and a 4th Grand Slam in a row. They're taking on Wales in the Principality. It's a 4:45 kickoff. It's on BBC Two. It's on Sports Extra, and James Burridge will be keeping an eye on it for us.
Hi Mark. Well, yes, 20,000 inside the Principality, a record for a Welsh women's team event in Wales. They'll need every ounce of support and emotion against England. 21 matches unbeaten for the Red Roses. And John Mitchell's made clear how he's building 2 teams for the World Cup. He's made 13 changes today, such as their ridiculous strength in depth. World Player of the Year Ellie Kildunn wins her 50th cap. Abby Dow and Jess Breach back on the wings. Zoe Harrison gets the nod at 10. Cardiff-born Welsh speaker Meg Jones starts in the centre, while Olympian Abby Burton is set to make her debut from the bench. Wales coach Sean Lynn, a proven winner at Gloucester Hartpury, faces his toughest test so far. He's gone for experience over youth in the pack, with Gwenllian Pers and Gwen Grab returning.
Thank you very much, James. So James will keep us up to date on that. You can watch it on BBC Two. You can listen on Sports Extra. And we'll head back to Celtic and Pat Nevin and Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, the Hearts players just coming out onto the field now. But for Celtic leading 3-0, it's another step towards confirming what we all know anyway, Pat.
Yeah.
With regards to the title.
Yeah, they've been brilliant going forward. This season have been just the odd hiccup here and there, but at the moment they look a class apart from Hearts, and they look as if they could play at any pace they like. I suppose there is, among the good news for Hearts is they've started the game well. Among the good news for Celtic, they can rest players. Among the good news for Chappers is that you managed to stop Ian Dennis halfway through his pie there, which is, I think, fabulous news for Chappers.
I was just about to say to you, I love you for the fact you were giving such a lengthy answer so I could take another bite out of the pie, and then you've just gone and dobbed me in.
I was going to keep on going so you could pick it. But it's, no, to be fair, they are very good steak pies, and they are in very good form, Celtic, just now. I mean, oddly enough, there was a bit of tension before the start of this game, but the tension absolutely has dropped before half-time. If Hart could start the second half and maybe sneak a goal, you just never know, but it's so unlikely for them to really ask too many more questions. And it's just whether Celtic can keep up enough intensity, or will they manage the game out?
Well, Hearts are going to make a change. Callum Nieuwenhof is the Australian is going to be coming on for just his 8th appearance, and just looking around, it would look like Wilson is the player who's gone off. Young James Wilson.
It hardly had an effect in the game, except for that one opportunity, the back post to a header, and as I say, got to get it on target, didn't get anywhere close to on target when there was absolutely no one near him. Asked an unnamed Hearts man downstairs that I met, and he was saying that he's not noted for his heading abilities, so he's going to make way, and they're just going to, I think, strengthen up a wee bit. Hearts having 3 players up front and Celtic braking on them with such precision, I think they have to be a wee bit more careful now.
So the Hearts side will be Craig Gordon in goal, back 3 of Milne, Steinbender and Nielsen, Forrester and Penrice as the wing backs, with Ingamy and Devlin in the midfield, now with Nieuwenhof, and then Shankland and Kabangu up front for Hearts in their maroon shirts and white shorts. Celtic have just taken to the pitch. No changes being made by the league leaders in their green and white hoop shirts and white shorts. So that's Sinisalo in goal, Johnston, Carter-Vickers, Nawrocki and Schlupp, Hatate, McGregor and Engels, Jota, Maeda and Kuhn. And that is the Celtic side as the referee Kevin Clancy waits to get us back underway. We'll keep you in touch with the usual goal service for the second half. We are available. 5 Live final score on the red button, the BBC iPlayer, the BBC Sport website and app as well. And then we've got leading into our next commentary of Brighton and Hove Albion against Nottingham Forest for that second FA Cup quarter-final in the company of Chris Wise and Michael Brown. And tomorrow we will also have Preston North End against Aston Villa from 1:30. Live from midday as Jota slid in down this near side to left, and with the opening 30 seconds Jota carries the ball into the penalty area, crosses, and almost got an early goal at the start of the second half from that teasing ball in. It's been retrieved on that far side. The Hearts defence just didn't almost exist to Jota.
The full back had overlapped and never quite got back in time, and you don't generally do that with Jota.
Here is Jota once again on the left-hand side, helped out by Schlupp. Celtic win a corner as they are attacking the Jock Stein stand, playing from right to left as we look, and they just look hungry for more goals.
They do, and just thinking, make the change they made, are they going to be a little bit more secure at the back, Hearts? Well, it's not looked like that in the first minute or so of this second half, and Celtic, and it's much easier when you're 3 goals up. You can cruise and enjoy it, and everything's much easier when you've got a bit of a cushion.
Corner kick then for Celtic on this near side to left, playing from right to left. Middlesbrough have just equalised. In comes the corner kick, goes out towards the right hand side of the penalty area. Hatate knocks it back into the 6-yard area, comes out towards McGregor. He goes square. Jota, man over is Engels on this near side, and it's a slow ball in from the left hand side, and that's gathered in by Craig Gordon. So Kelechi Iheanacho has got that equaliser for Middlesbrough in the Championship. Middlesbrough 1, Oxford 1. Middlesbrough, who've won their last 2 at home incidentally, 8th, still looking to try and gate crash their way into the playoffs in the Championship, as Steinbender turns and gets the ball back from Craig Gordon, who I noticed during the week in the disappointment of losing to Greece became now the 4th most capped Scottish player, taking his tally to 81 caps.
Extraordinary, and considering the age he is just now, he just doesn't look any different from when I first knew him 20 odd years ago, well over 20 years ago when he was breaking through.
Here is he's playing of course against his former side. Jota again on the left hand side. Jota's cross takes a deflection and it's caught by Craig Gordon. I mean, I remember doing a game with you many years ago, and even then I described him as the Peter Pan of Scottish football, and yet here he is, 42 years old, and he's still going.
And, Scotland's #1 as well, and it's not because he's, not got anyone else. There are other good goalkeepers around. He is just evergreen.
And it was December 2022 that he overcame a serious injury with a double leg break, so he's got plenty of resilience to match his longevity. Beningame in the midfield, ball goes back for Hearts. And then now with Nielsen inside the centre circle, out towards Milne. The wing-backs are pushed on as Nielsen sweeps it out. I think for the first time this afternoon, the rain has ceased, certainly relented anyway. But sadly, from a Hearts point of view, the damage done in that first half when they conceded the 3 goals.
Well, you mentioned the fact that we were talking about Craig Gordon there, and there is a brilliant BBC podcast, 9-part podcast, about the Tsar of Hearts, the former owner of Hearts, and it is an incredible listen. Some of it completely mad on BBC Sounds. And the one thing I would say about it is, I'm not sure Vladimir Romanov got it right when he said Craig Gordon lacks personality. Strength of character.
Here is Kuhn looking for Jota, and a sliding was Forrester behind for a corner kick. Yeah, I think that was slightly misjudged, don't you?
Yeah, just a bit. One or two other misjudged things in that one from Vladimir Romanov, but I have to say I've listened to it through, and it is a fabulous piece.
Yes, there are many podcasts available on BBC Sounds, including the Commentator's View, despite what a certain presenter might want to call it. Certainly not Last of the Summer Wine. And it certainly wasn't the Commentator's Guff, as he said as well. That'll be getting revisited, I can tell you. But we're early in the second half, and Celtic with a corner kick. Engels fires it in towards the far post, and Gordon with a reaching arm didn't get a touch as it goes all the way out for a goal kick.
Do you know what I think you might have? And that tiny touch took it off the head of Kuhn, who was just about to head it in, and because he touched it and it went on to Kuhn from there just a few yards away, he couldn't react quickly enough. So actually that was some very, very good goalkeeping there.
We have actually had correspondence to the Commentator's View podcast from actually down under, so if you are listening to the BBC via the ABC, then hello to you. Cambridge United 1, Northampton Town 1 is the latest score in League 1. Fleetwood Town have taken the lead at MK Dons. MK Dons 1, Fleetwood Town 2 is the latest score in League 2. You're up to date with the goals as they go in. We're 5 minutes into the second half. Rangers are in action at Dundee later. That's a 5:30 kickoff. We'll have updates from Kenny Crawford into that commentary that's going to come in the FA Cup quarter-finals from the Amex, Brighton against Nottingham Forest. But Celtic are going to go 16 points clear at the top, and then there'll be 2 more games to play before the top 6 splits, as it often does after the 33 matches. And then once we get that schedule, that probably looking around the 15th of April, you'll be able to work out where Celtic could clinch the title. If it might, who knows, be before that if Rangers were to drop more points, but on course for more silverware for Brendan Rodgers.
As many Celtic fans around the world are similar to Liverpool fans in many ways, trying to work out when it will actually happen. All very confident it will happen eventually.
A League and Cup double last year. The League Cup has already been secured this season, and they've got the semi-final to come later. 20th of April is the date when they meet St Johnstone. Potentially we could be looking here at a possible Scottish Cup final if Hearts can overcome Aberdeen in their semi.
Yeah, I mean, again, looking like for Celtic another phenomenal season. For Brendan it's a big call, because I always do remember when he came back, he was taken over from Ange Postecoglou, who had been utterly beloved of the Celtic fans. Trebles, so if Brendan came down and won just 1 or 2 trophies a season, that would be felt as if merely par for the course. They're wanting trebles here.
Rotherham United 0, Crawley Town 2 is the latest score in League 1. Nawrocki at the back to Carter Vickers. Edge of the penalty area, out towards Johnston. The Canadian international runs forward midway through his own half. Another goal at Stoke City, Pat Murphy.
1-2 Stoke City, and to the man of the match, Million Manhoof. They haven't mastered him. Elusive, tricky, predominantly left-footed. Set free, excellent pass from Lewis Baker. Drew the keeper, slotted it in. They deserve this, Stoke. They're 3-0 up against QPR.
Well, that could be a huge win for Stoke City, bearing in mind that Cardiff City are also still leading at home to Sheffield Wednesday by a 1-0. Just opens up that little bit of a gap, because it was just a point for the two teams against those sides beneath them, Derby, Luton and Plymouth. Luton, who earlier beat Hull City by a 0-0. Plymouth got a point away at Watford, but Plymouth still find themselves, as it currently stands, 7 points away from safety. Celtic, now the brightening skies here in Glasgow, still a damp pitch, leading by 3-0. Maeda with the 2 first half goals, and Jota as well, and looking to get back into winning ways after that defeat against Rangers before the international break.
Yeah, and completely controlling the game now, Celtic, holding on to the ball. Hearts have changed their system to a quite clear 5-3-2. They've got Shankland up front alongside Cabango, but they just can't get on the ball at all, and it's that man Callum McGregor, who as ever is completely controlling that middle part of the field.
Yeah, absolutely bossing it in the middle of the park for Celtic this afternoon, as Hearts managed to work it out towards Forrester on this near side, the right. It's tied at the top of the Championship. Sheffield United gave a challenge to Burnley and Leeds United with that 3-1 win last night. Chris Wilder's side going back top. The last we heard, Leeds United were ahead. Maz Faruqi.
Ball across the face of goal from Sam Barron, which squirted past everyone, out for a goal kick. Any touch would have seen it hit the back of the net for Leeds in second. They still lead Swansea 1-0 though.
And Burnley, the last we heard, were also leading by a similar scoreline against Bristol City. Bristol City, who still have playoff hopes of their own, just outside the top 6, and unbeaten in 7 before that trip to Turf Moor. But Burnley, as every Burnley supporter will know, unbeaten in 25 games in the Championship and looking to extend that. As 9 minutes into the second half, a yellow card has been shown, and it has been shown to Adam Forrester, the teenage defender of Heart of Midlothian, by our referee Kevin Clancy.
Yeah, and I think that's the first yellow card of the day so far here, and there have been a few tackles going in. The referee's trying to allow it to flow a little bit, but I think there's a wee bit of frustration from Forrester there, and there's a lot of frustration from these Hearts players, because they gave so much in that first half, but now they're being completely dominated, and it's very, very disheartening for them, because they're slightly being toyed with by Celtic here, and you just wonder with Brendan Rodgers, is it worth making 1 or 2 changes? You know, if he gets another goal, I suspect he'll do it then.
Brightening skies here at Celtic Park, as Celtic get it out towards Kuhn on the right hand side. Here is McGregor to shoot from distance, and he drills it in low, left-footed, and Gordon makes the save. I was tempted to say the sun's reappeared, but those floodlights must be bright, Pat Nevin.
You're actually talking about this Sky game. Are you going to an open-air gig tonight or something? Where are Deacon Blue playing?
Here is John Akers at Exeter.
Well, we've got a penalty for Wrexham. Big moment this in their season, and it's Jay Rodriguez standing over it. He won the penalty given by the assistant on the far side. The referee had waved it off, but the assistant on the far side was closer to it and flagged furiously. So it's going to be Jay Rodriguez. Missed one last week for Wrexham, but put in the rebound. Here he comes, right-footed, steps up and scores straight down the middle. Celebrates in front of the Wrexham fans. They might have this wrapped up. Exeter 0, Wrexham 2.
Reading 2, Peterborough 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Mansfield Town 2. Pat.
Yeah, well done, Hearts. Just played out the ball beautifully. Just a wee few moments there, they looked as if the shoulders had gone down. They were feeling a little bit sorry for themselves. But in actual fact, what they've done, they brought themselves out a little bit back into these last couple of minutes. It's tough if you're 3-0 down and they had a bad start to the second half, but lifted a wee bit now.
Should say as well that Wickham is still being held at home by Lincoln City, so Wrexham could be opening up a 5-point gap over Wickham for that second automatic promotion spot, albeit Wickham would have a game in hand. We mentioned Cardiff down at the bottom of the Championship. They were leading by a 0-0. There's been a goal. Molly Stevens.
There has. Cardiff 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Hihekwe with the goal. It looked initially like a Salek own goal from his head, but it looks like he got the head to it, Hihekwe, and that will be a massive lift for Sheffield Wednesday, who've had a lacklustre game thus far. Cardiff 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Thank you, Molly. Jota attacking left corner of the area for Celtic. Finds Kuhn in a central position just outside the penalty area. Out to Schlupp. Early ball in towards Jota. Cut back, headed away by Penrice, only as far as Johnston. Edge of the area for Celtic. Still leading 3-0. Johnston's cross, first time blocked. Comes back towards the Canadian international right corner of the area. And Celtic keep the ball so well. Here is Hatate now. Finds Schlupp. St Mirren 3, Kilmarnock 0 is the latest score elsewhere in the Scottish Premiership. Blackpool 2, Bolton Wanderers 1. In comes the cross from Jota, and it is cleared away by Milne. Celtic, though, still maintaining the pressure, but then the referee has blown his whistle because there's a head injury. Bristol Rovers 1, Mansfield Town 2. I think I mentioned Reading 2, Peterborough United 0. But to Birmingham we go now. Lee Blakeman.
The leaders are 2-0 ahead. Birmingham 2, Shrewsbury 0. Good ball in from the right, headed into the bottom corner by the right back Ethan Laird. Great header to make it Birmingham 2, Shrewsbury 0.
Thank you, Lee. So Birmingham with a 9th straight win at home, it would seem, in League One. Let's get the team news from the Amex then. It's our commentary at 5:15. Brighton and Hove Albion against Nottingham Forest. Chris Wise.
2 Brighton changes from that 2-2 draw with Manchester City 2 weeks ago. Gomez and Joao Pedro drop out. In come Ayari and Welbeck. For Forest, there's 3 alterations. We knew Chris Wood wouldn't play. Alanga and Hudson-Odoi drop to the bench. Yates, Danilo and Awanoyi are in.
MK Dons 1, Fleetwood Town 3, latest score in League 2. The referee's just given an uncontested drop ball for Celtic midway through the Hearts half.
There was a head injury there, so Hearts had to drop back there. I think he did the right thing on this occasion.
Trying the rugby, Adam Whitty.
Could a Quins come back beyond? Bar 33, Harlequins 21, a third Quins try. England prop Finn Baxter scored after patient build-up. They've closed a Bath 26-0 lead back to 33-21. We've had 49 minutes.
That Derby defeated Easter Road for Hearts was their first loss away from home since Killy in mid-December. But they're looking for back-to-back losses now on their travels and further misery down the M8. What is it, 31 miles between Glasgow and Edinburgh?
Round about that, 50 kilometres. I should know that. I'm cycling 50 kilometres next week from Tranmere to Wrexham.
Are you really?
Yes. Very good. Heart charity.
Very good. And what is the actual charity itself?
I'll get back to you now.
Okay. Focusing more on the preparation for the 31 miles.
Just now, yes.
Yeah, and a good cause too. Just thought we'd give it a little plug.
Yeah, this. Yep.
Here is McGregor to Carter Vickers, out to Johnston on that far side. Every outfield player is in the half, away towards our left-hand side. Celtic leading by 3-0. Kuhn looking to turn away, tighten things up of Hearts, haven't they? I don't think they want to concede too many more after those first half goals from Maeda and Jota.
It's really tough, isn't it? If you're, a Celtic fan, you're enjoying it. It's a nice, pleasant day of football to watch. You're getting a chance now and again. You've seen 3 goals. There's no fears or worries. If you're a Hearts fan, up to your right-hand side, you're hardly getting a kick of the ball. There's nothing to cheer. And your team have worked hard. They're trying to get behind your team and keep any excitement for the trip you've had through from Edinburgh. It's a really tough gig, but there are many teams in Scotland that have come through and felt that feeling here.
Hoping to try and cling on to a place in the top 6 before the split. Carter Vickers with a mistake. Kabunga could be in there. Sinisala, though, sliding to his knees and just managed to nick it away from the Hearts attacker.
No, absolutely brilliant from Carter Vickers there. He's looked not at his very, very best today. He could have easily got booked early in the first half. Almost another ball through to Maeda. Do you know what? You don't even need to play a good ball through to Maeda. If there's space behind the centre back, just lump it in there. He'll be there. He'll chase it. He's not had much to do. But looking at Celtic players, a lot of them are playing, kind of half pace, 3/4 pace. Not Maeda. He doesn't do any other paces, does he? No. He just does 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. One paced, but it's quick, it's fast, it's dynamic. Reading 3, Peterborough United 0, Newport County 0, Notts County 2. Into the Championship now. What's the latest at Ellen Road? Maz Faruqi.
Couple more chances for Leeds for a second. Piero on the volley, shooting straight at the Swansea keeper, 6 yards out. Before that, Dan James flashed wide of the left post with an effort from the edge of the area. So Leeds pushing for another goal, but they still lead Swansea by 1-0.
Bromley 1, Salford City 3 is the latest score in League 2. There is activity on the Celtic bench down below, but 62 minutes played and Celtic are cruising very, very comfortable indeed as Nawrocki, Polish defender, Only his 17th appearance actually since they signed him from Legia War last season, and it's going to be a double change. I think we're going to see Bernardo coming on, Paolo Bernardo. No, I'll tell you what it was. They were going to bring on Yang, then they decided against it, and instead they're going to bring on Paolo Bernardo, who's missed the last 8 games with an ankle injury. Teasing ball in from Jota on the left-hand side, and then volleyed away over on that far side by Penrice. But Celtic have the ball once again inside the centre circle. So we've heard from Maz at Ellen Road. We can hear from Julia now at Turf Moor.
It's still Burnley 1, Bristol City 0. Zian Fleming's first half a free kick remains the only goal. I don't know how, because this has been all Burnley. They should be well out in sight. It is Burnley 1, Bristol City 0.
Thanks, Julia. Julia Bold there at Turf Moor. Harrogate Town 1, Gillingham 1. Mentioned Gillingham's terrible away form. Gareth Ainsworth just taking over there, and his side have got an equaliser at Harrogate. St Mirren 4, Kilmarnock 0, Reading 3, Peterborough 1 as the goals flash in on the computer screen. Callum McGregor is the player coming off for Paolo Bernardo as we go to Tom Gale, who's at Doncaster.
Goal, Ian. Doncaster 2, Carlisle 0. Crossfield ball. Jordan Gibson drives into the box, cuts inside, sits down 2 defenders and passes it into the net. Doncaster 2, Carlisle 0.
Not good for Carlisle United, but will stay in Yorkshire because in the Championship there has been a goal at Ellen Road. Maz Faruqi.
And Swansea are level. Meslier had been having a good game, but he dropped the ball from a corner, and Harry Darling was there to pounce for Swansea's equaliser. 1-1 here. Leeds 1, Swansea 1.
So Paolo Bernardo has come on. His last appearance was the 8th of February against Wraith Rovers, so he's been out with that ankle injury for so long. We'll get the thoughts of Pat on Callum McGregor and his cause for Celtic back in the team after his calf injury, after we hear of a goal at Wickham. Mike Mane.
Wickham's first shot on target, and they have a goal. Good pressure from Cameron Humphreys on a defender with a long ball over the top. He rounds the goalkeeper, slots it home. Wickham 1, Lincoln 0.
It'll be a case of as you were then, with Wickham 3 points behind second place Wrexham, who are 2-0 up at Exeter, although Wickham do have that game in hand. What about Callum McGregor today? I mean, that was his 510th appearance for the club. He's a Celtic legend.
And he doesn't look any different from, year after year after year. He's still controlling it. He keeps himself in great condition. Reads the game maybe even better than he ever did before. However, they need somebody to go and fill him from now and again. So Bernardo being back, he's fitted into that area precisely. And we'll see what he can do. He'll do well. Not as well as McGregor.
Rare attack for Hearts. Forrester passes the ball back, and then it's played forward on this near side. Forrester now with Nieuwenhof, and back it goes then to Steinfender. Now with Nielsen, the maroon shirts. Neil Critchley, formerly of Blackpool and Queen's Park Rangers, 2 spells actually, in fact, he had at Bloomfield Road, barking out the orders as there's a free kick, and it goes in favour of the home side midway through their own half, still leading with those 3 first half goals. Another try at Bath. Adam Whitty.
Every time Queensland a blow, Bath hit one straight back. Bath 40, Harlequins 21. An interception try from Max Ajomo. 80 metres he stormed home to score under the post. The wreck off their feet for that one. 52 minutes gone. Bath 40, Harlequins 21.
Mentioned the commentaries coming up in the FA Cup. Brighton at 5:15. Preston and Aston Villa from 1:30 tomorrow. The Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman at 7 o'clock to start the week. And then Tuesday, we've got Premier League commentaries. Arsenal Fulham on Tuesday night, and Liverpool Everton, the Merseyside derby from Anfield on Wednesday night, also to look forward to as we approach the midway point. But this is so comfortable for Celtic.
It is, and what can you learn out of it? You'd almost say, if you're Brendan Rodgers, don't want to lose a goal and bring any jeopardy into it, but you also want to give players games. So Bernardo been out for a while injured, yeah, makes perfect sense. Should you bring James Forrest in as well now? He's not had many games because of his injuries. That must be a temptation as well.
Schlupp hits the ball long, looking for the run of Maeda. There is just a little glimpse of blue sky that is broken up and broken out over Celtic Park. But look at the flags taking a real buffeting in that bracing wind here in Scotland. No other goals to tell you about just as yet, but it's certainly in stark contrast to the leaden skies and the wet conditions that greeted us on our arrival here
Actually,
today.
I've just seen some sunlight on the far side of the pitch. lasted 3 seconds. It's gone away again. So, no, in actual fact, Celtic fans don't care just now. Celtic don't care just now. They're looking forward to glorious sunny days to come when they can celebrate this championship, and it doesn't look as if it's going to be very long.
Well, if you were to take the Great Western Road out to Kilmarnock, there's not many Kilmarnock supporters who'd be happy today, because St Mirren have just rattled in a 5th goal. St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 0 in Paisley. The Neil Lennon's team have just fallen further behind in Ayrshire. Ayr United 2, Dunfermline 0, as we go to Sally River of Angela at Walsall.
The wheels are coming off here. Walsall 0, Wimbledon 1. Omar Bogiel off the bench, side foot finish from outside the area after the keeper had saved the initial shot. Walsall going winless in 7 as it stands. Walsall 0, Wimbledon 1.
And Wimbledon will reclaim 3rd place and move to within 3 points of Bradford City and Walsall, who are both at the top on 70 points. Bradford earlier drawing 0-0 away at Accrington Stanley. We're midway through the second half here on 5 Live. We'll go through all the latest scores in the various divisions very, very soon. But it's almost as if Celtic are playing within themselves in this second period.
Oh, they absolutely 100% are. There are gears that they can go into whenever they like just now, but why do that? Why make a long season even longer for yourself? So yeah, they're just trying to see this game out. They're just trying to manage it, and they're managing it perfectly well at the moment.
Goal at Doncaster, Tom Gale.
Doncaster 3, Carlisle 0. The substitute Billy Sharp drives into the box, the flurry of passes, and the other substitute with his first touch, Harry Clifton, taps it home. Doncaster 3, Carlisle 0.
We're going to have a flurry of activity because Celtic are making a change. Hearts are looking to make a triple change. Jota has been caught offside, and that will be a free kick. So here come the changes for Hearts. We're going to first of all, we will see George Grant coming on. Formerly began his career at Nottingham Forest, signed him from Peterborough 2 or 3 years ago. He's actually out of contract in the summer. Is George Grant. Beningame is one of the players to come off. Also, we're going to see Sander Khartoum come on, a Norwegian who they signed in January from Brann on a 2.5-year deal. And the other change is going to be Blair Spittle, a midfielder, coming on 2 for Hearts. And it's Shankland who is one of the players going off. I think he's certainly walking towards the edge of the pitch. He's taken off his captain's armband. Meanwhile, whilst all this is happening, we're going to go to Sunderland. Chris Coles.
And they remain 1-0 up against Millwall, but signs from Millwall that an equaliser is coming. Josh Coburn, header, well saved by Anthony Patterson. 18 minutes to play. We'll have a fair chunk of stoppage time, though. We had a lengthy break in play to deal with a medical incident in the crowd. Sunderland 1, Millwall 0.
Thank you, Chris. MK Dons 1, Fleetwood Town 4. And it is going to be a double change for Celtic. Maeda won't be getting another hat-trick today because he's coming off and Adam Ida is coming on, and Yang is also going to come on, the South Korean, and it is going to be Nicholas Kuhn who is going to go off, the young German. So 19 minutes remaining, and always a shame to see Maeda because you just love his work rate, his desire, his passion. And what a season he's having. 30 goals in 45 appearances.
And it's one of the big discussion things that's going on in Scottish football just now, because Celtic obviously want to sign him in a new contract. They would fear losing him now, having lost Kyogo, that other natural goal scorer they had during the winter break there. So, you know, keep him A, at the club, but B, on the field as often as possible until the games are actually won. And that's what they've done today. Chance for Adam Ida, see if he can add to his tally.
18 minutes remaining. Celtic lead by 3-0, and then we now have blue sky and bright sunshine on this fluctuating day of weather here for BBC Radio 5 Live. Watching Celtic. There's a mistake at the back from Nawrocki, and looking to try and get onto the end of that was actually Kabangu, but unable to do so, and Celtic will bring the ball away. Let's go to Norwich. Paul Scott.
Still goalless here. Norwich 0, West Brom 0. A match desperately crying out for something to spark it into life, lacking in quality in this second half. A couple of half chances for either side. Borja Sainz shooting straight at Joe Wildsmith from the edge of the area. At the other end, Carlon Grant blazed over from 18 yards. Norwich 0, West Brom 0.
Ida made a run in behind on that right-hand side of the penalty area, and he almost had a glimpse of goal, didn't he?
Yeah, first touch he's actually had in the game there. It's whether Hearts are going to have any sort of a go here at all. And if they can do that, with Celtic having made the changes, that might disrupt Celtic's play a little bit. I say might. I think it's a long shot, but they've made a few changes themselves. But certainly the system for Hearts has changed not at all. At half-time, we asked the question, what do Hearts do now? Do they just try and shut up shop a little bit, make sure it's not a 5 or a 6? It would appear that's what they've tried to do.
Yes. Shankland, Beningame, and the third player to leave the field was Cammy Devlin, who's only just come back from a head injury, for Spittle, Grant and Khartoum to come on there for Hearts, who are still 3-0 down with 17 minutes remaining. Barrow 0, Chesterfield 1 is the latest score in League 2. You're up to date with the goals as they go in, but with just over 15 minutes remaining, as the ball is looking towards Eder, cut out by Milne on that far side. Penrice will leave it for Milne, and he'll clear once again for Hearts, as Brendan Rodgers raises his arms aloft in frustration that from that position Hearts were able to get out after being penned in with a long ball. But really, I actually can't recall too many chances that Celtic have created this second period.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but I would also say if they really had to,
yes,
if it was getting tight again, I think they would lift it. So I wouldn't take much away from that. I mean, just now they would say, Celtic would say, and any team would say, we're 3-0 up. Are you going to have a go? Because if you go, we'll break on you.
Yeah.
And it'll open the game up. But Hearts haven't. They've got that 5 men at the back. The wing backs ain't going anywhere. They're staying back there.
There has been a goal, and it's at St Andrews in League 1. Lee Blakeman.
3 goals, 3 points for Birmingham City, who lead Shrewsbury by 3 goals to 0. Low cross from the left, put in 2 yards out by Alfie May, who's only just come on to make it Birmingham 3, Shrewsbury 0.
Latest scores then in the Scottish Premiership. Aberdeen lead Motherwell by 2 goals to 1. Aberdeen have come from behind there at Pittodrie. We know it's Celtic 3, Hearts 0 here. Hibs 2, bottom of the table, St Johnstone 0, St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 0. Dundee Rangers to come at 5:30 as we go into the Championship, and Maz Faruqi at Ellen Road.
You can feel the tension rising here, Ian, as Leeds chase the game. Pirro with another strike straight at the Swansea keeper. The decision making from Leeds now not great, as they see the seconds tick by and 2 points dropped, and Daniel Farker has just made a triple substitution as well. Still Leeds 1, Swansea 1.
And remember, Burnley is still leading Bristol City by 1 goal to 0. That would mean Sheffield United have a 2-point advantage over Leeds and Burnley, who would be level on 81 points apiece. Latest scores then in League 2 I'll give you in a moment's time, but earlier on, of course, the results in League 2 were Accrington 0, Bradford City 0, Crewe 0, Port Vale 1. These are the latest scores. Barrow 0, Chesterfield 1, Bromley 2, Salford City 3, Doncaster Rovers 3, Carlisle United 0. Carlisle United will be going to the bottom of the Football League because Morecambe, as it stands, are currently leading Swindon by 1 goal to 0. Harrogate 1, Gillingham 1, Doncaster 3, Carlisle 0 mentioned, MK Dons 1, Fleetwood 4, Morecambe 1, Swindon 0, Newport County 0, Notts County 2, and the leaders Walsall 0, Wimbledon 1. Pat Murphy at Stoke City.
Rangers have pulled one back. The substitute, Yang Min Hyuk, neat turn, swivel, left foot shot, 15 yards out. Stoke 3, QPR 1.
And Wigan have just equalised at home to Barnsley. So that is the latest score in League 1. Celtic still leading by 3 goals to 0. Mentioned the the Scottish Premiership, the League 2 latest. Here are the latest scores in League 1 as Eder lays the ball out towards Johnston. The 2 results in League 1, incidentally: Charlton 4, Huddersfield Town 0. Good result for Nathan Jones' side. Huddersfield Town currently being replaced in the playoffs now with that Reading scoreline. So Huddersfield, after that heavy defeat, dropping out of the top 6. Stockport County consolidating their position in the playoff positions with a 2-1 win over Burton Albion. Latest scores: the leaders Birmingham 3, Shrewsbury 0, Blackpool 2, Bolton Wanderers 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Mansfield 2, Cambridge 1, Northampton 1, Exeter City 0, Wrexham 2. Reading will be ending Peterborough's 8-match unbeaten run, and they'll go 11 undefeated. They're 3-1 up at home to Peterborough. Rotherham 0, Crawley Town 2, Wigan 1, Barnsley 1, and Wickham lead Lincoln by 1 goal to 0. Pat.
There's an odd thing here. You look around this stadium, which was absolutely packed to the gunnels at the start. Celtic are 3-0 up, and we look around and there are a lot of green seats beginning to show you. Now, it's hard getting away for this place, but your team's winning 3-0. It's that easy that a lot of the fans have said, right, okay, this one's done, we'll just get going now.
Yeah. it's a mere formality for Celtic, and it's had that feel, hasn't it, from very, very early on in the second half.
I mean, I don't blame anyone who might have good reason to go, but it just tells you how easy it has been in this second half for Celtic, and how comfortable and how confident. Huge numbers, and the big numbers here that have actually left this game already, and we're only in the 77th minute.
Yes, 12 minutes remaining of normal time, and it feels like a procession as Celtic still lead 3-0. Earlier on in the Championship, Hull City 0, Luton Town 1. What a result for Luton Town. Take on Leeds United next weekend, but giving their survival hopes with a real boost and a significant victory against one of the sides that they're looking to haul a little closer to them. Watford 0, bottom of the table. Plymouth 0 is how it finished in the early games. These are the latest scores then in the Championship. Burnley 1, Bristol City 0, Cardiff 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Leeds United 1, Swansea City 1, Middlesbrough 1, Oxford United 1. Also all square between Norwich and West Brom, goalless. Portsmouth still lead Blackburn by a 1-0. That could be a fourth straight defeat for Blackburn. Stoke City 3, Queen's Park Rangers 1, and Sunderland lead Millwall by a 0. Commentary coming up at 5:15 from the Amex. Brighton against Nottingham Forest, but with just over 10 minutes remaining, Hearts have a free kick on this near side, the right. They're playing from left to right as we look, and it is going to be Spittle, the substitute, who is going to take it. Doesn't beat the first man. Easily cleared by Bernardo, hooked away by Jota. As Celtic now might be able to break. Hatate got plenty flooding forward, and Ida is one of them who manages to pick out over on that far side. Hatate on the right, level now with the penalty area, and then comes back. Hearts, to their credit, managed to get plenty of maroon shirts back in position as well, and now Celtic will just try and build through the midfield once more, looking for a fourth goal, as Yang tries to burst his way into the penalty area, cut out by Nielsen. Another try, Adam Whitty in the rugby.
The path of surely sealed victory with a 7th try from Francois van Veek. They lead 47-21 against Quins. Will Butt with the break, Ben Spencer with the juggle, then the offload for van Veek. Bath 47, Harlequins 21, 66 minutes gone.
Aberdeen 3, Motherwell 1 is the latest score for Todri, and Middlesbrough have come from behind, and they are moving to within a point of the playoffs as they now lead Oxford United by 2-1. And here is going to be a popular substitution. James Forrest, he's missed the last 22 matches. He's been out since mid-December with injury. His last appearance was actually against Rangers in the League Cup final. He's going to be coming on. Jota is going to be coming off. James Forrest, welcome back to a player who made his debut 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's great to have him back. He does add something slightly different as well. He can play wing back as well, and just playing out winger. But it's great to come on in a game that's already won and get yourself slowly but surely back into match fitness. So great to see him back in. And he's always, I mean, when you start counting the number of trophies he's won, it's extraordinary.
Well, Luke McGowan is the other player who has come on to replace Hatate, so that was the other change for Celtic. As we'll go to Walsall, Sani Rudavarjala.
6 to go, Walsall 0, Wimbledon 1, but the league leaders Walsall are throwing everything at this. Across just a moment ago, saved by Goodman, the rebound to Albert Adoma, and a 37-year-old deflected shot over the bar. 6 to go, Walsall 0, Wimbledon 1.
We have 9 minutes remaining here at Celtic Park. Even more empty green seats now as the Celtic supporters have seen their side return to winning ways. You look at their home form this season, they've only dropped points at home to Aberdeen, and then that defeat against Rangers. 2-2 against Aberdeen, 3-2 when they lost last time out, but this will be a 14th win.
To be honest, and it's no surprise whatsoever how many goals in the league have they scored this season. It's well into the 90s already, I'm sure. You know, and there's a lot of games to go. It just shows you how dominant they have been, and they are seriously dominant in this league.
Yeah, well, the goal difference alone is plus 72 for Celtic, as they have just seen all before them, and in fact that is 92 goals that they've scored, so they're 8 away from a century in a season that they once again have dominated.
And that's just league, by the way. That's the madness of it, the amount of goals they scored in the cup. And of course they've had what was a very creditable European season, Celtic, and just being knocked out by Bayern Munich.
Here is Forrest, left-hand side of the penalty area. His low cross had pace in it. It actually went up the body of Lewis Nielsen, the young defender, and behind for a corner kick.
Poor Adam Forrester there, playing right back. He's got Jota against him for most of the game. He's giving him a hard time. And then he's got an absolutely exceptional replacement in Forrest, who's just doing exactly the same thing, putting in crosses.
50 of those 92 have been scored at home. MK Dons 2, Fleetwood Town 4 is the latest score in League 2. Celtic have got a corner kick on this near side the left. We've got 7 minutes remaining. Hearts have got everybody back. There's been damage limitation exercise really for Hearts in this second half as the header is punched away down into the ground, volleyed back in, and then hooked further clear by Kabungu at the in the Hearts penalty area, and that should be tidied up for Gordon to get there, as we will now go to Birmingham and Lee Blakeman.
Another one for Birmingham, another one for Alfie May. Birmingham 4, Shrewsbury 0. May played in, right side of the area, brought the keeper out, rounded him, slotted it in, and Birmingham are absolutely cruising here now. Birmingham 4, Shrewsbury 0.
Under 7 minutes remaining. And
I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen a stadium empty and quicker when your team have played very well, control the game, 3-0 up. There's a celebration to be had at the end. I know why they're doing it, and I do not complain about these Celtic fans doing this, but it's extraordinary how many have already left.
Looking around the stadium, you could be forgiven for thinking that the home team are actually losing 3-0, that many have left.
Yeah, I mean, they've still sang throughout, but it is something extraordinary. I think actually, as I say that, Celtic fans are all getting up, the ones that are still here, and they're sitting there applauding their team, they're singing for their team as if to say, yes, some have gone, but yeah, it's not that we're not thankful. We are thankful for these efforts.
Alan Forrest is going to be coming on for Hearts. They're going to make another change. We have just over 5 minutes remaining. Rotherham United 0, Crawley Town 3, and there's been a goal at Walsall. Sani Rudavajala.
An equaliser for the league leaders. Walsall 1, Wimbledon 1. Taylor Allen with the perfect left-footed free kick, arcing beyond keeper Goodman, and the leaders are back in it. Walsall 1, Wimbledon 1.
That would take them a point clear of second place Bradford City. Penalty at Sunderland, Chris Coles.
Chance for Luke O'Nien to win it for Sunderland. They lead Millwall 1-0, and Luke O'Nien stands over this penalty with 6 minutes to play. O'Nien saved by Lucas Jensen, diving low to his left-hand side. Millwall still in it. Sunderland 1, Millwall 0.
And a goal at Birmingham, Lee Blakeman.
Shrewsbury have got one back. Birmingham 4, Shrewsbury 1. Cross from the left, headed in by Verdane Oliver. I think we can call that a consolation. Birmingham 4, Shrewsbury 1.
And the younger brother of James Forrest, Alan Forrest, is going to be coming on for Hearts, and he is going to replace Elton Kabangu. As I noticed, Victor Wanyama, who's been reunited with Neil Lennon, has been sent off on his Dunfermline debut.
Oh dear. Not perfect, absolutely not perfect. I have to say, it did kind of shock and surprise Scottish football that Neil Lennon took that job. It's a big call for him, a difficult job, and that's not great stuff.
I think they were still 2-0 down at Ayr the last I heard, but Celtic 3, Hearts 0. We've got about 3 more minutes remaining of normal time, and the ball bypasses Sinisalo and the Celtic goal to Nawrocki. Now there's been a late goal in the Championship at Ellen Road. Remember, it was Leeds United 1, Swansea City 1. The goal might tell us who scored. Mas Faruqi.
You can tell from the noise, it's absolute bedlam inside Ellen Road. Willing onto the substitute, firing in, edge of the Swansea area. Leeds 2, Swansea 1.
Kilmarnock have got a consolation. St Mirren 5, Kilmarnock 1. But that goal for Nonto at Ellen Road, as far as the top of the Championship now, it means that Leeds United will go top. They will go above Sheffield United, although both Yorkshire clubs are on 83 points, and they'll both still be 2 points clear of Burnley, who still lead Bristol City by a goal to 0 in the Championship. Rotherham United 0, Crawley Town 4 is the latest score in League One. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and I'd love to tell you something exciting's going on here, but sadly it absolutely isn't just now, because you know the Carews. The one thing I was looking forward to seeing here, Ida has come on from Maeda, right? So he's got to come on and say, I'm special too. I'm going to run myself into the ground. I'm going to make sure that the manager can't ignore me. He's not really made that much running. You know, he's got himself into a half chance of scoring as soon as he come on. But apart from that, it has looked very languid. I know that's his style, but see if the guy ahead of you is running everywhere, you've got to show the manager a bit more.
Yeah, there hasn't been much for excitement in this second half. Hearts, who've certainly recovered from a dreadful start. They didn't have a win in their opening 10 games. Indeed, they lost their last 8. And Naismith, who was sacked in September, just weeks after signing a new contract, where Hearts in a statement had said they were going from strength to strength. They didn't win another game. And after signing that new deal, it went from dust to dust, because he was then sacked.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, it can happen in Scottish football. You know, as we talked at the start about Hibs and Hearts both been at the bottom of the league, absolutely anchoring it at the start of the season. But both improved since.
Yes, well, they'd won 4 of their last 5 in all competitions. They only defeat 2 Hibs on the 2nd of March, but they've that familiar feeling, that predictable outcome whenever they travel down the M8 to Celtic Park from Tynecastle. As no other latest scores to tell you about just as yet. So at the top of the Championship, Burnley and Leeds United both winning. And at the bottom as well for Stoke City, that could be a big win for them. 3-1 they lead Queen's Park Rangers. Cardiff City have been pegged back though by Sheffield Wednesday, so they're still nervously looking over their shoulders. They're only 2 points clear of Derby County. As far as League One is concerned, the lead is Birmingham City, 4-1 up at home to Shrewsbury, but the 2 teams behind them, Wrexham and Wycombe, are also both leading. As Ida skips away from one challenge and runs forward on that right hand side. Forrest waits in the penalty area, but Ida holds on to the ball at this now deserted Celtic Park, leading by 3-0. And in League 2 at the top, after Bradford City drew 0-0 away at Accrington, Walsall 1, Wimbledon 1. So Walsall with that equaliser, looking to go back a point clear of Bradford City at the top, and Morecambe winning down at the bottom. They'll still though be 7 points away from safety and Tranmere Rovers. Carlisle, however, slipping to defeat yet again, 3-0 down at Doncaster Rovers, who look to consolidate a playoff position. That's just a brief summary of how the various leagues look in England on this 5 Live final score. Pat.
And the summary of what's happening here is we could be the only 2 people here, but it doesn't blow the whistle soon. You look around the stadium and everything's gone green, hasn't it? Because all the seats are becoming free. And again, it's not a complaint to the Celtic fans. They've got behind their team, they were needed, but the game has been finished for a long time. I think they're already preparing themselves for their ceremony, the flag being flown when they win this league, because it's only going to be a matter of time. As you said before, a complete and utter possession.
Yes.
What they didn't want is any regrets at the end of this season. You know, and the only regret that I can think of is that recent defeat by Rangers. Apart from that, it's been controlled, and they've been the best team by a distance.
Has Sinisalo not made that reflex save after 10 minutes from Nielsen? That was probably the only element of jeopardy that was in the game, because ever since Celtic took the lead after 17 minutes and they added to it then 7 minutes later, and then Maeda got on the score sheet once more 4 minutes before half time, it's had just a feel of one-way traffic and a training game.
It's been a training game, but you should do that. You should conserve energy. You should give other players a little bit of an opportunity. I mean, if every player ran about, you know, and tried to get 4, 5, 6, 7, and then even just one player got an injury, it would feel wrong to some degree for Brendan Rodgers. Be intrigued to see what he says after the game, because the utter control of this second half has been incredible. Much to the point, if Hearts scored a goal, you'd often say, oh, they deserved that for the efforts. I'm not sure you would today. No. They've just not been in it.
I think Gavin Wallace, our producer, said that when Celtic went 2-0 up, that was at a time when Hearts had 70% of the possession. Yeah. But ever since then, I mean, Celtic have absolutely dominated. Burnley have beaten Bristol City by 1-0. It's finished Cardiff 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1. So Cardiff's now without a win in their last 3 home games, and there has been a goal at Carrow Road. Paul Scott.
We've waited 92 minutes, but Norwich have made the breakthrough. Josh Sargent cutting onto his right boot and then curling it into the opposite bottom corner. They've left it late, but Norwich might have just stolen it at the death. Norwich 1, West Brom 0.
Those playoff positions behind Sunderland are tight. Coventry 5th, 59. West Brom 6th, 58. Middlesbrough, who are winning, coming from behind to lead Oxford by 2-1, now moved to 57. So Bristol City actually slip a place. They're losing their unbeaten run. They've lost that 7-match unbeaten run, as Burnley extend theirs to 26 games undefeated And at the top of the table, although they're still playing at Ellen Road, Leeds top 83, Sheffield United second 83, Burnley third 81. It's going to go to the wire, it would seem, as we're inside the last 60 seconds. So how would you sum up the game, Pat Nevin?
Absolutely no jeopardy whatsoever in the second half, and Celtic are so far ahead in this game, and have been in many games this season and in Scotland. Yeah, and that's because they're quality players, well managed, etc. But I just cannot see any way whatsoever that Celtic are going to slip up. And on top of that, I suspect if Celtic played with 10 men for the rest of the season, they'll still probably win the league.
Stoke City have beaten Queen's Park Rangers by 3-1. That's a big boost for their survival hopes. And Walsall 1, Wimbledon 1 at the top of League 2. So Walsall do get a point to pick up an equaliser there that will take them a point clear of Bradford City. There's been a sending off at Wycombe. Mike Minay.
Lincoln, their captain, Paddy O'Connor's gone. The ball was bouncing over the byline. He made a wild lunge at the Wycombe defender trying to shield it out of play. The ball had gone over, but the ball was out of play, and that challenge sees him with a straight red card. Wycombe still lead by 1-0.
Full-time score here at Celtic, and it was an easy win. 2 goals from Maeda, 1 from Jota in the first half. Pat?
Yeah, and a very good first half performance by Celtic. It did exactly what it needed to do. Good effort from Hibs the first 15, 20, 25 minutes. But they ran out of gas, the Hearts players, and when they lost that first goal, the writing was on the wall. By the time the second one, it was just how many. By the second half, it was just about Celtic controlling the game, making sure no one get injured, no one get overtired. Utter domination of this game, and to be fair, utter domination of Scottish football just now, Celtic Football Club.
3 more wins, Mark, is all that Celtic require for a 4th successive league title. It's finished at Celtic Park. Celtic 3, Heart of Midlothian 0.